Good day, brethren. I don't want to take up too much of your time here, but I received an email. Someone has a question. I'm sorry, it wasn't an email. It was actually a question right on the YouTube channel, Word Like a Hammer. And it was a question that somebody had after watching the video, The End of the Age, Part 2. And their question was, well, they said they were trying to understand the teaching about no pre-tribulation rapture. But they had a question still about what Revelation chapter 3 verse 10 means. Let me just start off by saying this first, okay? I know there is a teaching out there that teaches that those letters to those 7 churches in Revelation, some people teach that those are different church ages until the time that Jesus returns, that Jesus is speaking prophetically to a different generation or a different church age. I'm going to tell you that it's not true. It's just not true. These were 7 literal, physical congregations at one time in Asia Minor. 7 different congregations of believers that Jesus had prophetic words for, that John actually had delivered to those churches. Now, it does not mean that there's not anything there for us to learn and take heed to, because all of these things we can fall in. All these things are relevant, but they are not parabolic or prophetic words for different generations of church ages. Like some think we're in the Laodicean church age. No, we're not. I want to make that clear, that if you think that these are prophetic words for different church ages, then you're going to have some real problems with the rest of the book of Revelation and with a lot of prophecy. I just want you to understand that these were real physical congregations, that these were real literal prophetic words for at that time. And yes, we can still learn from them. Yes, we can still see an example in them. And yes, if we do what they were doing, the same thing will happen to us. I want you to listen to what Jesus actually says in Revelation chapter 1, verse 19, about what he's getting ready to tell John. 1:19, he says, "Write the things which thou hast seen, and the things which are, and the things which shall be hereafter." So Jesus is telling John, look, I'm going to tell you things that are, and then I'm going to show you things that will happen hereafter. So Jesus was dealing with present tense, present time issues at that time, which would be the 7 letters to the 7 churches. Everything that goes on after those 7 letters are the things that will happen hereafter. That's clear, that's obvious. I want to put that out there now before we go on, because obviously the person asking this question it's likely that you think that the church of Philadelphia in Revelation chapter 3, verse 10 that you're asking about is a literal, specific future, we might be it, church age. No, it's not it, okay? That's one thing you got to realize. These were 7 churches that existed at one time, no longer do. Literal places, literal congregations. That doesn't mean we can't learn from them, but you've got to understand those were letters to them specifically. Okay? So, Revelation 3:10, this is the question. "Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon the whole world to try them that dwell upon the earth. Okay? Now look, a lot of people will use that passage of scripture to defend a pre-trib rapture. So obviously the person asking this question, in their minds, they think this is a reference to a secret rapture, or a Jesus taking his people out of the earth before the great tribulation. Look, I'm just going to tell you right now, it's not, okay? Before I go any further, let me go back to John chapter 17, where Jesus is praying before he's betrayed. And he says in verse 15, I pray not that thou shouldest take them out of the world, but that thou shouldest keep them from the evil. It's the same word, keep, in the Greek as it is in Revelation. Keep. Okay? That doesn't mean, keep does not mean that Jesus is going to snatch his people up out of the earth and save them from having to go through great tribulation. That's not what it's saying. I'm going to read you out of the Greek tongues. This is a Strong's Concordance with the Hebrew and Greek. I'm going to read you what that word keep literally means, and it's number 5083 in the Greek. To watch over, to guard from loss or injury by keeping the eye upon. To hold fast, to keep, to preserve, to watch. Okay? So look, here is what Jesus is saying to that congregation at Philadelphia at that time in Revelation 3, verse 10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them that dwell upon the earth. He's saying, I will keep my eye on you, I will protect you, I will preserve you, I will guard you, I will watch over you, so that you don't get swallowed up in the evil, so that you are preserved for me. Just like he says in John 17, verse 15, I pray not that thou shouldest take them out of the world, but that thou shouldest keep them, or preserve them, or watch them, or guard them from the evil. Okay? So they're right there. He's not saying, I don't want you to take them out of the world. I want you to keep them, preserve them, protect them, guard them. Okay? And I'm going to tell you, this is a preservation and a keeping that actually occurs on the inside. Oh yeah, God protects us on the outside as well. He provides for us. He protects us. He gives us a roof to live under. He protects us from evil. You know, he protects us from violence, although there are Christians in the world who are not being protected from violence, but their hearts are being preserved blameless. Okay? Jesus is saying that you preserve them, that you keep their hearts, that you keep them spotless and blameless, that you preserve them from the evil. So this great trial that's going to come upon the world in Revelation 3, verse 10, every generation is subject to great tribulation. Every generation is subject to tribulation. And the tribulation comes, and when it comes, there's a lot of people who fall away because they're not really sheep. They're not really holding fast to the head, Jesus. And so Jesus is talking to those faithful and loyal ones who keep his word, that I will keep you. I will cause you to stand. I will preserve you. I will guard you through this madness. If I can show you really quick, again, I don't want to take too much of your time here. If I can just show you how that keeping, what it looks like. Go with me to Isaiah 42, I believe. We'll find out here in a moment. I'm sorry, Isaiah 43. When Jesus says, I will keep you from the hour of trial, which shall come upon the whole world to test those that dwell therein. When he said that to the Philadelphian church, when he prayed that in John 17, when he says he will do that for his saints of any generation, this is what he means. Isaiah 43, verse 1, But now thus saith the Lord that created thee, O Jacob, and he that formed thee, O Israel, fear not, for I have redeemed thee. I have called thee by thy name, thou art mine. When thou passest through the waters, I will be with thee, and through the rivers, they shall not overflow thee. When thou walkest through the fire, thou shalt not be burned, neither shall the flame kindle upon thee. That is a type of preservation. That is God's people going through tribulation, going through the waters, through the rivers, and they won't overflow you. You're going through them, but it's not going to overcome you or overtake you. When you go through the fire, you'll not be burned, and neither shall the flame kindle upon you. This is God keeping his saints through or from the tribulation, you understand. They're going through it, but God's keeping them. That's what Jesus is talking about in John 17 and Revelation 3, verse 10. Okay, so that, again, that word keep, it means to guard by keeping the eye upon, to watch over, to hold fast, to preserve. Okay, that's what Jesus wants to do, is preserve us. And he prayed in John 17, don't take them out of the world, but keep them from the evil. Okay, that's what it means. I hope that your question has been answered.